Oh, well, we got music here. This switched it up on me here, but hello everybody, Allie here, and welcome to the Gold Mine. Thank you so much for joining me here on another episode at Allie's Treasure Trove. I was actually quite curious, since this is sort of a continuation of the part prior, Twisted Karma and its Broken Bow, or its final bow, something like that. And I was like, are we gonna have a little voiceover intro? I wasn't entirely sure. I'm disappointed that we didn't, but it does make sense. But usually it starts here in silence, but we got some slow down, a little slow down theme here. I like it. But yes, this is episode number 38 here, getting into the final chapter here of the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve. 38th episode here of our playthrough. You guys, we are starting off here with Trial, continuing to see if we can get to the bottom of the truth here regarding not only the professor case, but more pressingly, who murdered Inspector Gregson. Now, it seems like Scotland Yard is going with this narrative that, oh, Gregson was the guy who hired the assassin to eliminate all these other people, and Gregson was the true Reaper. Nah, I don't believe that for a second. Disrespected my homie Gregson. If it is him, I will admit, I would be caught 100% off guard, but I don't think he's like that. I think he was investigating the Reaper. You know, Scotland Yard is pushing the narrative that, oh, Gregson, it was him, because look, he has this board with all these names and pictures, and these are all the people that died of the Reaper, and it's like, yeah, because he's trying to figure out who the Reaper is, not because he is the Reaper. You know, if it is, like Van Zeeks is even saying, Van Zeeks, of course, we are having to defend accused of murder of Gregson. You know, thinks it was Gregson because just Gregson was doing, like, kind of some shady investigations, trying not to let people know what he's up to, and it's like, yes, I too, if I thought someone that was my boss or one of my co-workers was assassinating people related to the professor case and related to just people not getting, properly sentenced in court. If I thought they were being killed, I too would not publicly announce, hey, I'm gonna try and figure out how this dude is. If I think I literally work with the person, that's just a death sentence. So to me, it makes sense that he was having Daily Vigil impersonate him to make him look like, oh, Gregson's doing his own investigation again. I heard he was in that tavern down on Baker Street, you know? Like, but it's not him. He's off doing what he needs to do in secret. It's like, yeah, obviously, technically, it's illegal. Technically, it's illegal. I don't feel like that's the main problem here. So I'm not on the Gregson evil train. I'm not on the Gregson evil train. But I'm assuming we're gonna find out real soon. Real soon. But it is 9:14 a.m. We're in the defendant's antechamber, and let's just see what's up. So, the time's finally come. Today, we unravel everything. Susato doesn't look very happy. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Miss Susato. Sad Sato. Miss Susato? Ah! What? We spooked Susato a little too much. She got spooked. We just got yeeted. Oh no! What's the matter, Mr. Naruto? Nothing. I was just saying that I'll be relying on your support today, but I'm so sorry. Of course, I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but I shan't let you down. Would you mind helping me to my feet then? Oh dear, I'm really very sorry. Susato-san isn't her usual self at all. But that's hardly surprising, I suppose. She's just found out that her father is the partner of a world-famous detective. Not to mention... Ah! Good morning, sir! Lord Van Zeeks! Thank you for all of your efforts yesterday. What? Did I hear that correctly? What? Oh, no, nothing. Just, I hope we can clear things up today. I really can't make this man out. His face says I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday. Lord Van Zeeks isn't the Reaper, Mr. Naruto! Good point. Good point, Susato-san. The Reaper, I suppose, in hindsight. I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh? It was my tacit acceptance of that pseudonym. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all of this. But you're not to blame for that, Lord Van Zieks! It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? To be frank, I'm not sure that was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. That having been slain by that evil killer, Clint's restless spirits returned to some sort of demigod, to wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of law, could not. Yes, we've heard that story too. When I lost him, I felt as though I'd lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so, in some small way, I wonder if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. So that means his brother was with him. If he was the Reaper, that means his brother's spirit is being by his side. Oh, big sad. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured up by an over-imaginative public. He was obviously extremely important to you, Lord Clint Van Zieks. Wow, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know that you didn't take anyone's life. And I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today. I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes. That burning desire to cut through all of the lies and deception. And I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Thank you. We've been accepted. Now tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air? Oh, Iris, when did you get here? Oh! I brought you one of my special blends. Hurley loves it. He says it helps him to clear his head. I thank you. Oh, hee. That's surely the first and last I'll ever see a sight of like this. You seem different today, Iris. Oh? Sort of subdued, I suppose. I am not. What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot. She's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Sai's laboratory. Alright then, good luck to you both. I have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying? I thought you'd want to watch today's proceedings. Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I've got lots to get ready. Get ready? For what? No, yes. Would you take this? Isn't that one of those little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack? Yes, it's a lucky charm. A little Hurley that I made once. A Hurley? Looks more like a Hairley to me. If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can. What? Pull his ears? Iris, what kind of secret bioweapon is this? That's right, it's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it. Alright, interesting. You think? What we'll need is luck? I just sneaked a peek inside the courtroom. And it seemed very different than normal. Yes, it would seem that a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean? It means Lord Strongheart is sus. What about Mr. Sholmes, Iris? I don't know. He was out all night and he hadn't come home by the time I left this morning. Tearing up the town with Professor Mikotaba. Oh, I see. Was Professor Mikotaba out all night too, do you think, Miss Susanto? Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning. And apparently, they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all. They? Father, and Judge Jigoku. I told you the judge was gonna get whacked. I don't know, I hope not. He was cool. I think Judge Jigoku got murdered overnight. I don't know, man. Judge Jigoku, too. That's right! Nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday. Counsel for the defense and the defendant! Court is about to be in session! Please make your way inside the courtroom at once! Good luck, Runo! Good luck, Susie! Yes, thank you, Iris. And you, Mr. Reaper, I hope it goes well. Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing. Oh, I'm so glad. We must go inside now, Lord Van Zieks. Lord Van Zieks has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court. But not today. Today, I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Cosmo Sogi, who I trust more than anyone else in the world. Now I understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all those months ago. Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, to this one final reckoning. All right, 9:30 a.m. Trial's about to begin. It is quiet. And the judge is gone. The judge is gone, Skeed. Where was he? It feels even more oppressive here than it did yesterday. There are cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today. Ah! Mr. Naruto, look! Knew it! This is gonna go super well, isn't it? No. How convenient. How convenient. Evil! Lord Strongheart! Cosmo must have known beforehand. The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the motive of Scotland Yard Inspector. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundations of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting the influential members of the judiciary from countries all over the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial. And one over which I, male Strongheart, exercise total and unequivocal authority. The 6 jurors is flames, just as was the case in yesterday's proceedings. Those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary, assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Strongheart. Oh, Van Zieks knows what's up. He knows what's up! On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zieks. You are a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother Clint, in fact. Now going for the low digs. Alright, that was kind of spooky. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. For the trial of Brock Van Zieks, who officially stands accused of murder. If this isn't some final boss music, I don't know what it is. Just saying. This is gonna be tough. Counsels of the prosecution defense, are you in full readiness to proceed? The defense is ready, my lord. Don't call him that, he don't deserve it. As is the prosecution. Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice. Mr. Daily Vigil, who had been given the inspector's identification and presented himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work when in fact he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. Because whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Park Blvd Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinner's. He has recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. He has formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League. Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed one day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Sogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed that the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on 31st October, the day before his body was discovered. I have here an updated autopsy report that includes the amended details. But the official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday. That the time of death was 5 p.m. on 1st November. There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. That's out of the question. There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. My lord, this is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes, especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. You might sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities. Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday. And I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now. Gina? State your name and occupation for the court. Oh, like you've never met me before? Inspector Gina Lestrade reporting. Representative of Scotland Yard. A self-conferred rank, but never mind. Gina? Again? Why, you don't love have Gina in the courtroom? Odo? What's your problem, Odo? Yeah, nor Odo, come on, man. We love Gina. What's with that Gina? Again? Look, eh? Nah! The boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did. Oh, Inspector Gregson, you mean? He got me out of the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Taught me that life can have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him. Oh, Gina! Right. All out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Sholmes, no. What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigation yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about. Very troubling. That face? Lord Strongheart knew. Uh-huh. Yeah, he did. So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in that report. Coming right up, sir. I want to do a Gina cosplay. It's like one of the most normal outfits I've seen in an Ace Attorney game, to be honest. All y'all detectives supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. A little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings in it. And according to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't onto it yet. What matters most is there was witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too. Smuggled goods? I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book. Tobacco, tea, spices, medicines, goods of all sorts flow into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. The police are rarely able to locate them in time. Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets. It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of his investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority without the Yard's knowledge. And do we know where the dealings were taking place this time? In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. And on the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter. That can't be. We haven't heard anything about any of this. Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Brock Van Zeeks, was present. That would be very significant testimony then. Oh my, but what? Lord Van Zeeks has made no mention of this at all. In short, Lord Van Zeeks had ample opportunity to murder the victim. Very well then. Counsel for the defense, begin your cross-examination.
Hold it!
So, you follow orders, do you, Gina? No, not me. I'm above all that, see? Oh. The boss always had special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips, or go and give Toby his grub, that kind of thing. Gina's the ultimate lackey. So errands, more than orders, then. This detective is still an apprentice after all. Yeah, well, this apprentice ain't one to sit around and wait to be told what to do, even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigations into what happened. Didn't find much at first.
Hold it!
So you went through Inspector Gregson's things? Yup, it's a part of the independent Lestrade investigation. And I'm sure your superiors would be delighted that you're taking the initiative. So I snuck into his office when no one else was about. Because if anyone at the Yard had seen me going in there, they'd have turfed me straight out on the street. This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more like something else. Look, Gina's good at breaking into stuff. Let her do what she's good at. She's doing it for good purposes now. It's fine, right? Kind of illegal, but it's fine, right? Right? We love Gina, huh? Prosecution understands that it was this very detective who discovered the notebook. You got that right. Nothing gets back to Inspector Lestrade and his trusty assistant, Chief Inspector Toby. We found it hidden in one of his desk drawers that had a false bottom. That's impressive. So then I went to hide myself and no one could find me so I could have a butcher's at what was written in it. Because if anyone at the Yard had found me out, they'd have turfed me straight out onto the street. Gina, I was under the impression you could only read 5 letters. How can you read the notebook? Right, wasn't Gregson teaching her how to write? Maybe she doesn't know how to write. Maybe she can read, but she can't write. Right, she got through E. I thought she was able to get through E. I don't know. Does anyone else remember? Let me know down below. I've given it in now, though, ain't I? And if it weren't for me, wouldn't it never have been found? That's true. Good job, Gina. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods.
Hold it!
Do you have an idea where those dealings were taking place? Yup. It was all in there in the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember. As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Yes, I remember, but I was hoping to find out the name of the club. That won't be necessary. What? It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in the future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings. I don't know what all the fuss is about. It's right here. All I've got to do is read it out. That could do. Got this reading game button up now. Can't I show you what I can do? Go on, what's the harm? The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. So what should I do? Yeah, go for it, Gina. This is a closed court. The proceedings are confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there's some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. No, my lord. The prosecution has no objection. Oh, he don't like that. Cosmo? There's no question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive. Right then. I get to show off me reading skills. Let's go, Gina, let's go. Apparently, the smuggled goods deal was gonna happen at a gentleman's club called the Growls.
Hold it!
I don't even know what that means. The Growls? What sort of club is that? I ain't got the foggiest. Clubs ain't exactly my thing. What? I am kinda curious. They're not places where a foreign student like you would be readily admitted. Have you looked in the mirror recently? And I tell you what, me and Chief Inspector Toby could go in undercover. Could you, though? I could pick out a few good marks and see what else I could find out while I was in there. And I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings were going to take place, is it? Yeah, it's gotta be. That's what the lower-ranking detectives at the yard reckon. Says the even lower-ranking detective. Yo, but she's got Chief Inspector Toby by her side, Ryanosuke. Quit being a hater. Looks like it was a big job and all. The coppers weren't onto it yet.
Hold it!
I know I typically don't reread before I press the statement, but I just love voicing Gina. So how would Inspector Gregson come to find out about it in that case? That's the question, ain't it? But I'm just an apprentice, so... And why didn't he inform Scotland Yard of his findings? Yeah, that's what I was asking myself, because, you know, I'm just an apprentice. When it suits you, yes. Anyway, point is, something went on at the club, no question. You can't say that for certain, though, surely. Now, one thing I want to look... Actually, I have the physical copy right here. Underneath a pile of stuff to do. There's more piles of cards. So Gina is on the copy, the physical copy of the game. Very small. She's tiny. She's tiny. She's actually running in the bottom left corner with Mr. Natsume. She's in her new outfit too, so that if I noticed that earlier, that would have been a spoiler. But the thing is Ray. Oh, you know that Ray from the Ryutaro case, our little intro case of the game, being Susato's childhood best friend, is like pretty big on the front. And I remember I was like, I gotta give her a voice that's not too difficult because I think she's gonna be a recurring character. And we've never seen her from her, heard from her, seen her at all ever again. There's some of these characters I'm like, I didn't expect it. Like, I'm sitting here in this trial, I'm like, Van Zeeks sounds like British Kazuma. And then Strongheart just sounds British, but without the deeper tone that I gave Kazuma to make Van Zeeks, and they all sound the same. But I just randomly popped off generic what voice for Gina all the way back. All the way back, like at least what, like 30 episodes ago, probably. Probably like 30 or like 25 episodes ago. I was like, all right. She said, what? What matters most is? And I'm like, all right, that sounds good. Let's go with that. I've just been doing Gina voice for like 72 hours. You know, that's how it goes sometimes. And it's like, okay. I mean, I love Gina. Gina's great. Gina's had some good character development. Very proud of you, Gina, turning your life around. Alright, they sold a rape at the place too.
Hold it!
Did they though? Lord Van Zeeks was at the club. Tearing it up.
He was. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members report having seen the accused being admitted to the room in question as a guest.
And it looks like there's no disputing that he was there then. Well, we know that Lord Van Zeeks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Perhaps he'd already discovered the inspector's secret notebook. Which led to him to the club, you mean? Maybe. Presumably then, there are also eyewitnesses who can testify that Gregson was there.
None have been identified at this time, no.
So the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club. Oi! Why ain't you asking Inspector Lestrade, eh? Do too much Gina voice, I'm gonna forget how to pronounce the letter H. Eh? Odo? What? So that's all I've got to work with. Gina's not holding back with that ice-cold stare of hers, is she? Now Gina's ready to throw down. I still want to see Gina versus Red Riding Hood. Gina versus Venus pay-per-view. I'd pay for it. I really don't know what to make of all of this. Lord Van Zeeks told us that he was investigating Inspector Gregson, but he never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident. You don't think Lord Van Zeeks could have been lying to us, do you? No. That's not the only way to explain this, Susanto. Oh! And if everything Lord Van Zeeks has told us is true, then there must be a mistake in this testimony somewhere. You mean, there are details we've yet to uncover? Yo, is that book in the court record? Excuse me, sir, I'd like to investigate it. No? Okay. This is cute, though. Look at him. Little Sholmes. What a charming little rabbity version of Mr. Sholmes! Do you suppose this is how Iris sees him? Are you right, Mr. Naruhodo? Your eyes are veritably boring into the doll's ears. Oh, sorry, I was just wondering. What do you suppose would happen if I were to tug its ears with all my might right now? And I'm sure that we'll find out when the time is right. To become a proper gentleman, you must really learn the stoic patience. But I want to know. I want to know. One additional person to travel. How do you have vital evidence removed from the stomach, but no internal trauma at the same time? Ah. Wish I could, like, flip it over. Like secret Japanese writing. Alright. Exactly. And a clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. That's what we should be looking for here. Let's do a little refresh here, because we've pressed everything. We pressed it all. Hey, Odo. Odo, you got any questions for me? I'm standing up here on the stand. What are you doing? Looking in your pockets or something, eh? You ain't gonna find nothing in your pockets. I'm Inspector Lestrade. You need to respect me, Odo. Quit looking in your pockets at the evidence. Hey? What you doing? I mean, Gregson was getting shanked. And then a little scuffle. If Gregson was in the background, that'd be super convenient. Be like, look, he wasn't there. We have a picture. He was actually at the passport office, but alright. Huh. Alright, let's think it through. We're looking for a clue that even Gina hasn't picked up on yet. I want to look. Something called the Grouse. Anything in here? Look, there's something inside.
Ooh, let's see. It appears to be a passport authorizing him to travel overseas.
Is Inspector Gregson about to go on a trip abroad then?
Perhaps the date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh!
What is it?
This was travel on October 31st, just one day before the incident.
What? Really? Gregson went to France the day before his body was discovered. No, that's obviously not right. Why do I feel like the Grouse is the name of the boat? We don't know. I feel like this has to be the clue that Gina doesn't know about. Because he never told her until he was just be like, yo, we're going to France. We're going to France, young sunshine! And then that never happened, obviously. Anything in here? Talking about Grouse. Wait. Hold on.
Oh, looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. Yes, it's Grouse.
Big brain! Huh. Oh, wow, strange. Where could it have gone? I lost my wallet, says Otto. Are you like this on purpose, Mr. Otto? That's a great line. Hey, Gina, I'd like to present you with this evidence I found.
Objection!
Oh, and I didn't even cheat this time. This time. I've had to look some stuff up. Like the blood drip. I had to look up the blood drip. I didn't look this up. I was like, the Grouse, that sounds like the name of a boat. I'm operating pretty well under pressure here. You know, Lord Strongheart's staring at me. I'm not doing anything sus. I'm looking at our evidence real close. And I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they are places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Grouse?
The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet.
And I'm sorry to say, they probably won't.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that the police inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on the 31st of October. May not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police force there, Counsel. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? It was a boat, but you already knew that. A steamship.
You think it's a ship?
Speaking of ships, I must say, I regret saying Susshart. I was tired one day. The first time one of the Stevens wrote Susshart as like one word in chat, and I was like, excuse me, who out here is shipping Susato and Strongheart? And I'm like, oh no, I did that. That's how you make ship names. You just combine their names. So I see Susshart, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm talking about him being suspicious. Oops. And I have the evidence to prove it here. Let me say that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. The other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. No, this would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Grouse.
Objection!
So there's a steamship named the Grouse, and that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say, there's a flaw in your logic there.
No, there's not, because I have a passport to prove it. How?
Look at the tickets. Notice the date of arrival in port.
The ship arrived at the port of Dover on 1st November.
The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission. That ship hadn't yet docked on British shores.
That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging.
Objection!
The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiate the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question. And show your evidence for that assertion.
Very well. Don't like that. It hurts my ears. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the 31st of October. Passport!
Take that!
What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim. Dated 31st October. What are you suggesting? And I'm suggesting that just one day before the inspector's body was discovered. There's a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night. According to my father, who was on board at the port of Dunkirk. Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? Why are you laughing at me?
I'm impressed, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport.
What? You mean you knew about this?
The prosecution strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations, and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. And I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something.
What? Oh, I'm supposed to be surprised?
And now that you're expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be.
What are you playing at, Prosecutor Sogi?
A courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts, without exception.
Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it?
The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper.
Oh my god. Bro, you're so close! Why do you keep doing...
Cosmo's disappointing me.
The Reaper? We're still going with this, huh?
Hold on. What on earth are you saying, counsel? Prosecution made an assertion in yesterday's court. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that.
What?
Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was, in fact, acting for the Reaper.
So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was...
Obviously, an assassination. Brock Van Zeeks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast-iron alibi. Which tells us that he must have had an accomplice.
And you claim that was Inspector Gregson? What the hell do you think you're saying, eh? My boss would never have done nothing like that!
And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense.
No, it doesn't! Cosmo Small Brain. No, it can't be.
We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we?
No!
And Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper.
Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zeeks. No, the true Reaper is somebody else. Brock Van Zeeks is not the Reaper.
A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man.
And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Grouse on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh, you have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, counsel? Oh, you like this now that it's a good way to still make Gregson look bad, huh? Now Lord Strongheart's on the, oh yeah, obviously Gregson's the Reaper train, duh, easy. Not me at all, no, not me. Absolutely, it's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard that steamship. Except Gregson, but, you know. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jigoku were on that very ship. And if someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. What's so funny?
Right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board the ship. But I think, perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life.
What?
Gregson did board the SS Grouse that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure.
Failure?
And it seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here.
What are you talking about? What detail?
Inspector Gino Lestrade.
Hey, what?
The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier, that doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey.
You're lying? Even if all them bludgers what got taken out had it coming? The boss went the Reaper?
Poor Gina!
There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. He may just be an apprentice, but if you spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors.
I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it.
Then testify again, as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss.
I don't.
I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook.
I don't know, man. I'm not feeling it. I think Gina and I are on the same page. He's just investigating. He's just investigating the Reaper. Yeah, this notebook does have a lot of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates, and places and stuff. The last entry in here was 31st October. It said growls for the place and the date, and the name of the mark. There was a note about him being a criminal what got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. But on this, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all. Alright, well, I will admit that's a little suspicious. That was a little suspicious. Yeah, but what was the name? I want to know what the name was. It depends on what the name was. I don't know. Alright, I'll admit that was a little suspicious. I don't like it.
Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here.
Oh. Oh, so all the conjecture by the prosecution's fine, but Gina's we only allow fact.
This must be so hard for her. You can't deny it now, surely. Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
What can't I deny? I can deny everything I want, Cosmo. You can't tell me what to do.
The notebook contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information that the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper.
Ah!
So, it was to be this final mark. Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the growls on 31st October.
Eh? Oh, how do you read this then?
Reading's still not her strong suit.
That ain't the problem, alright, Odo. It's not in English. Oh. It's a funny name, it ain't English, it's odd to read.
So it's someone from overseas.
Let me have a bash at it. It's the judge! It's the judge! The judge got whacked, dude! Seishiro? Jigoku? Maybe? What? It can't be. Seishiro Jigoku?
But that's Judge Jigoku!
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Strongheart, huh? That Japanese dude that's buddy-buddy with the Attorney General that you want to steal his job. Wow, what a surprise, he went missing. We haven't seen him. We saw Judge Jigoku, though, on the day, but did we? Did we see the judge? Or was that somebody else? It was actually just Strongheart in disguise. No. Certainly not an English name, you're right.
Objection!
But that can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday, here in London. So I know for a fact that the man hasn't been assassinated.
As I said, the Reaper failed.
Oh.
Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the inspector. Personally. The Reaper, of course, being the accused, Barak Van Zeeks. It's an undeniably logical argument.
Cosma, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you?
Hold it!
Good. Break that bench!
Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollowed chalice whilst I stand accused of murder.
Lord Van Zeeks!
The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock. I will say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective.
Hey, what? Nah, that's right, I ain't. I'm an inspector.
Repeating rumors heard around the yard. reading entries from a notebook of an unconfirmed origin.
Yeah, it's a fake notebook, duh.
That's not testimony, it's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go as exactly as clearly planned.
That's a good point. Yeah, because Gina's like, if they got me, they'd throw me out, right? But somehow they invited me to come testify in court, eh? Kind of weird, isn't it? Oh no, now that I think about it. Yeah, don't take that ish, Van Ziggs. You tell him. Girl, you go. You tell him. You say, that ain't no real evidence. Good.
Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself, by attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony. What did you say?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is our chance! Pull the rabbit!
My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to some important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness.
I know it's 100% intentional. I don't want to hear no sus heart deniers in the comments. It's intentionally made to make you flinch. You're supposed to be intimidated to the nth dimension. And if you're not, props to you, because I am. I feel very threatened by this 2D character, okay? Like, I will walk out of this building when I'm done recording this episode, and Strongheart will be like, "You've revealed my secrets," and gonna kill me outside. Like, danger. My spidey senses of danger have been tingling since we literally first saw this man's appearance on screen.
Very well, I'll make an exception and grant the request.
Look at them eyes. You just staring at us,
Stare down at us like, you pathetic weakling. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination.
Van Zeke just hear no fear in it.
Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality.
The digs! Oh, I like this.
Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir.
I'm not impartial, that's what that translates that to.
Counsel for the defense, begin the cross-examination immediately.
That's once, my lord. The amount of time I've told people they're not allowed to complain in the past 24 hours is a unsettlingly large amount. Sinvicta's not allowed to complain. You guys are not allowed to complain. Pretty sure there's somebody else too. Me, I'm not allowed to complain, but I can't stop myself, you know, it just happens sometimes. Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years.
Hold it!
Almost like somebody else wrote it for him. In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper. Not you and all. That ain't the only explanation, is it? He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret. The notebook said what he found out.
If I may, when originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believed in the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial.
But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you?
Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper.
One arm? What you talking on about?
The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization, with you at its head. I had spies at the yard keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I'd been able to check the most recent entry in his book, and I knew the location.
You knew it said Grouse?
Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone.
Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claimed to have seen you there.
But of course, the inspector was not there. Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France. as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook.
Yeah, so it's almost like the people that Van Zieks had as spies in the yard were actually in on the Reaper and framing Gregson. Who are the spies? Fine.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? You seem a little shocked by something a moment ago.
No, it's all right. I'm overthinking this, aren't I? No, I don't think so, Naruhodo. I don't think so. Names of victims, dates and places and stuff.
Hold it!
Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff? What in particular? Well, beside the victims' names, the other name kept cropping up. What other name was that? It's the one I told you yesterday. The same name, written over and over and over again. You mean Asashin? Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or something, isn't she? Were you even listening yesterday? Asashin. The assassin. What? Like a killer, you mean?
Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable and who to use to get at them. But the person actually executing his plans was someone else, you're saying? If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes.
Ah, then perhaps what it said on the passport document. Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. Could that additional person have been...
Clearly the assassin, who was meant to take Seishiro Jigoku's life.
Gina, can you confirm that? Against the final entry listed Grouse and Seishiro Jigoku. What name was written? Oh, well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it, as it happens. What? As it just had like a question mark or something there, I think.
In other words, Gregson himself did not know the identity of the assassin in that case. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not?
Oh, how infuriating!
A nameless assassin. It said Grouse.
Hold it!
And you're saying that the mark listed was Seishiro Jigoku? That's what it said. Funny name, if you ask me. And I thought your name was odd. So pleased to have lost my crown there.
Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature.
I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago.
Studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart.
That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. So Lord Strongheart was Judge Jigoku's mentor. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now.
10 years ago? After that fateful case?
Precisely. In the aftermath of the Professor case, his repatriation was organized immediately. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook. I didn't think it was possible, but the mood he's gotten even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking. Just keep talking, maybe things will turn out okay.
Hold it!
What do you mean, a criminal? Judge Jigoku is no criminal. Well, don't ask me, I know nothing about it.
Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Jigoku did once appear at court here in Britain. It was related to the Professor case, I'm sure.
Yes, of course, you're right. Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. He said, y'all suck, and they tried to throw him in prison.
Me, he ain't wrong.
It was a pitiful situation, yes. And I'd forgotten all about it. But I prosecuted that trial too, as it happens.
You did?
It was considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see. But he was acquitted after being told to make reparation for the damage caused to the stand. And there you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike.
What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jigoku was targeted for assassination?
The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindicative the Reaper is.
Come on, that's absurd! To take someone's life for that?
Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd, killing those who've been found innocent? Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension.
But Gina's objecting. Right, I've had just about enough of this. Gina? All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people? It's cobblers. Come on, Odo. Yes? Why ain't you saying nothing? Why? Why ain't you yelling out objection or something? What? You've got to find a flaw? You do usually. Someone's lying in, no question. You've got to work out who it is. Please? For the boss?
That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpockets from the slack slums could make a detective.
Hey, rude. Gina's doing good for herself, eh?
When this trial is over, you will forfeit your warrants card, Miss Lestrade.
Oh no, Gina got fired. Do you have the authority to do that? Lord Strongheart seems to have a lot of power for one dude.
Is that clear?
He just can decide to become the judge, he can just fire people from Scotland Yard, chief prosecutor of the office and stuff. I don't know, man. Aw, I've had it with the lot of ya. Slice every bleeding place you look in the world, isn't it? Well, I've had enough. Gina!
So have I. After the little speech of Gina's, I've made up my mind.
To do what, Mr. Naruto?
There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd.
Oh, do you mean?
I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears. All right.
Come on, Odo, help! You gotta find a flaw somewhere.
Hold it!
I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve.
Oh, I love it when this happens.
It's the title of the game.
Hey?
What do you mean?
Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency.
What's an inconsistency?
Really, Odo?
I don't quite know what it means yet, but... Yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by...
Ooh. Something that was said by... Well, it's not gonna be us. It's not gonna be Gina. It has to be Kazuma. Does it have to be Kazuma? I mean, the way Kazuma jumped on Van Zeke saying that the Reaper eliminated people. I don't know. I mean, it's not us, it's not Gina. Lord Strongheart's not really talking, it's not Van Zeke. It's gotta be... Ooh.
I don't know if I like where this is going.
By you, Kazuma Asogi. Me? Is it some attempt at filibustering, counsel? Prosecutor Asogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting? What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent?
You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I presented the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you realize what you've done. Oh yeah, he knew about the boat. He knew about the boat! Why did he know about the boat? No. No. Goodness, what is that? What is that? I swear we clicked on this already. There's a chunk of metal in the case, but where did the metal come from? Oh no, Kazuma knew about the boat. Why did he know about the boat? Now that I think about it, he was gone for a day and he came back to report about something being done to Strongheart, didn't he? Oh goodness. Looks like a fragment of metal of some sort. But it's wedged in so tightly I can't remove it. I don't like this.
Very well then, counsel, go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something Prosecutor Asogi has said?
How do you know about the bow? This was in the trunk. Nah, I don't know. The trunk is suspicious. That's a suspicious trunk.
This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. A metal construction, is it? Certainly very heavy. What's this? A blood stain, and a relatively fresh one too.
What? You mean that ain't Grace from all the boss's fish and chips?
Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report.
Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. But I found it, me, with the nose for trouble. Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Kazuma.
Because at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk.
So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk?
We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport?
Objection!
But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Kazuma. On 31st of October, where exactly were you?
At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Grouse. Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke?
Kazuma, how can you undie just to show up and be an asshole? What the... Bruh. What is going on? Is this man still brainwashed? Is he not, like, back and that's why he's doing... What is... Kazuma killed Gregson. Kazuma killed Gregson! I'm sitting here in disbelief.
Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke?
Kazuma, what did you... I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship, then it can only have been for one purpose. Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo! Surely you don't think?
Come on, Ryunosuke. You know the rules. The only thing that really talks in the courtroom is hard evidence. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him whenever he traveled. So as it stands, you've proved nothing.
Kazuma, are you challenging me to prove it, beyond all reasonable doubt, that you were there that day, in the same place as the inspector?
He was there with Gregson.
There's a clue that you've overlooked, a secret the trunk can tell us. I can't be sure at this point, I'll need to verify it. But I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing, but nevertheless we must test it. The defense will identify for the court where in this trunk the alleged clue is to be found.
Where's the evidence that ties Prosecutor Sogi to Inspector Gregson?
Got it!
There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here, like the tip of a blade. Eh? Blade? Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is the esteemed blade Kanama.
Of course it is.
Won't you draw it, here in this courtroom, for all to see?
Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer.
Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Sogi like a hawk.
That won't be necessary.
Oh no! The tip is broken. And if the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, then the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Sogi?
Expertly done, Ryunosuke. That's a point to you, and well deserved.
Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Sogi?
Yes, on 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission.
So the additional person authorized to travel
Was me.
and the mission was?
The assassination of the Mark.
What? You mean you're the killer whose names was omitted from this notebook? You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Jigoku?
Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I have killed no one.
Explain.
I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk, but I never had any intention of carrying out the plan.
You were never going to do it. We can believe Kazuma-sama, I'm sure. After all, Judge Jigoku arrived safely in London the following day.
On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the channel to Dunkirk. We then boarded the SS Grouse and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan.
You went to Judge Jigoku's cabin?
Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait, but...
But you've already told us you had no intention of going through with it anyway.
I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning.
A boarding house in Dunkirk?
My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify.
Then what became of Jigoku?
Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. And I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Gregson's murder.
Objection!
What if you did nothing as you claim? How did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk? I don't need to answer that. The victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case.
I think that's kind of relevant.
And accordingly, I chose to exercise my right to silence on that matter.
Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence.
As you wish, my lord.
We must take immediate action now to verify whether Seishiro Jigoku remains unharmed. What? Remains unharmed?
I agree. That should be our first priority. It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday.
How did you...
When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours. And it's only natural that the question of his safety should arise.
You don't mean to say that you think Judge Jigoku may have been killed?
The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, and he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zeeks?
If it were truly the Reaper, I'd be able to tell you. Order in court! We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. Now? Guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. If the man can't be located within half an hour, we will have to assume the worst. Oh no! Not Judge Jigoku!
No one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country. Except, that is, for the Reaper, wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago.
I would have to agree. Mr. Naruhodo, for the defense's sake... My lord? I sincerely hope we are successful. If we are unable to confirm Mr. Jigoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes, we will face grave difficulties. Ah. Yeah, I bet you that's what Sholmes and company are out doing. I bet the judge was kidnapped. Or killed. Or both. Court is adjourned for 30 minutes. Oh my goodness, what is even going on here? Because we know that Cosmo was sent on the mission by Strongheart. But I completely forgot that was a thing. Remember, Cosmo-sama was missing, and then he just arrived, and we saw him in Strongheart's office. Cosmo-sama, the Reaper's assassin, it feels as though I'm in a nightmare. And I can hardly believe it either. But on the other hand, Cosmo isn't in the habit of making up stories. And I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. If something awful has happened to Judge Jigoku, then I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control.
And I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were careering towards a foregone conclusion.
Well, in the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left.
Unfortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options.
Actually, there may be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last year.
Of course. The little Mr. Sholmes doll that Iris gave us.
If for some reason you completely run out of options in the trial today, then just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can.
Why do I feel like his head's gonna pop off and there'll be like a secret note inside or something?
Perhaps now is the time. What should I do? Pull Hurley's ears or not?
I say pull it. Here goes then. I'm going to do it.
Good luck, Mr. Naruto!
No looking back. Heave! What? That scream, it sounded like Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes, where are you?
Here, my dear fellow, here!
What?
It's the felt doll talking! Pull the ears again, Mr. Naruto! As hard as you can!
Alright then, I'll pull all my strength into it. Heave! Oh, jeez.
Please, my dear fellows, you don't need to pull my ear off! Mr. Sholmes, where are you?
Myself and my trusty partner are presently in the first-class cabin area of the SS Growls.
The SS Growls?
She left over last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. We are currently docked at Dunkirk, but due to be underway again in half an hour.
You've taken a ship to France?
Please, even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the Straits of Dover. And after we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cab to the station by train to the port. In order to board this vessel in time.
So, you mean you'd already worked it out? That the steamship was where everything really took place?
Mr. Naruhodo, pray, what is my name?
Herlock Sholmes, world-famous great detective.
Recited to perfection, well done.
You're a genius, Mr. Sholmes! That's the only word for it!
Ow! Mr. Sato, gently with this genius's ear, please.
Oh my, I'm ever so sorry!
If I may, Sholmes.
There you are, Mikotaba!
You may remember that it was in fact I who made the connection to the SS Growls. At Scotland Yard yesterday when we examined that notebook and I recalled my steamship ticket.
But of course it was, my dear fellow. And not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions utter my name.
Yes, you did, didn't you? We've just entered a recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now.
And if we're unable to present any new leads, then I'm afraid to say...
Do not fret, please. It is for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. And I have no doubt we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. That would be wonderful.
And until later, then.
Yes, you'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first.
No, I shan't be hearing anything if you keep tugging my ear in that mindless fashion.
Whatever was the idea behind making a receiver operate in that way in the first place, Sholmes?
Why the deuce would I know? It's Iris's invention, not mine.
All right. So where is the judge? Whilst I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Sholmes, we have but half that now before the Growls puts to sea again. And if we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long.
There are times, Mikotaba, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin.
Hey, that guy looks familiar. First class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. But I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. That crewman standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow.
Why are you loitering here? Who are you? My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one? And the question really ought to be, who are you?
Do you not recognize world-traveling great sailor Zechkin Stroganov when you see? Great detective? I don't think so. Why do you have Sholmes written on your arm?
Do you see that, Mikotaba? It would appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine.
Goodness me, is that a tattoo that says Sholmes?
And you must say, while such adoration is flattering naturally, it does leave me a little cold.
What are you talking about? Leave now.
How distressing, my loyal devotee knows only my name and not my appearance. Yet, I already know a great deal about you, sir. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship, in fact.
How could you know this?
Elementary, my dear Mikotaba.
I'm sure it was. 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard this ship, you see. We are looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. There is no one with their name on board. But we know that he purchased a ticket for passage. No, you mean Eastern man. He left ship 2 hours ago. Here at Dunkirk, he said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? So Seishiro's realized that we're after him, has he?
This cabin is the one behind you. We should like to investigate, please.
No, I have orders not to let even mouse inside. I do not have steak, I have mouse.
Mikotaba, be a good man and draw this sailor's attention away, would you? Make up some excuse so that he leaves the area.
Doesn't great detectives say? Not even sailors have ears, both left and right.
Curses! The plan is ruined!
And you have only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Sholmes. Forget that cabin door is locked. Even if I am not here, you cannot get inside.
Mikotaba, I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you?
Opening any lock.
Within a mere 5 seconds! So if you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typically accommodating manner.
How could I refuse such a typically unappealing request, old friend? Do I need to distract that burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I?
Good man! So, the game is afoot!
Let's press this button. That looks like a good button. Why do I have a little spinny thing going on? This would appear to be an alarm bell. And all hell would break loose if that thing were to ring. And the whole crew would know about it. Set it off! Here goes then. Pardon me in advance. You! What are you doing? If we were at sea, this would be very bad problem. What is going on down there? Seaman Stroganov, report at once. Sorry, sir, nothing to report, just stupid trick. No, not by me, by one famous no, as I told you.
Now,
Now, Sholmes, now.
done!
Not even 5 seconds, eh?
Well, don't stand there gawping at my brilliance! Mikotaba, in we go!
Oh, yes. Breaking into the room. Alright, I'm back after a short break. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a new investigation part. So it looks like we might actually end our playthrough a day earlier, perhaps 40 episodes instead of 41, as this seems to be another double feature here. Trial 1 and Investigation Part 1. Alright. Good gracious.
It would appear that the occupants of this cabin did indeed disembark rather hurriedly. Those
clothes on the floor there. They say Shiro's without question.
Well, it seems we are just a little too late.
Yes, by about 2 hours.
Still, whilst we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There may well be 2 hours worth of clues to find in here.
But that burly crewman may return at any moment, Sholmes.
Indeed he may! Which makes all this more the thrilling!
Alright, we got intense music. But why is Seishiro on the run? What does he have to do with all of this?
There's a speaking tube here, look! Though it's been stoppered with some cloth. So the voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't an annoyance, I suppose.
Nor indeed, so that the voices in this cabin aren't heard elsewhere.
Could something have happened in here that was no one else's ears, do you think?
Neither that or... it could be to prevent snakes from entering.
And that's really become a favorite case of yours, hasn't it?
Yeah, and Cosmo didn't even die in that case. I can't believe it. Is Cosmo... Did Cosmo kill Gregson? What's going on? Oh, I don't know.
Quite the exquisite glass, I must say. See here how it's... This is fresh water.
Is something wrong, Sholmes? You suddenly trailed off.
Nice, Mikotaba, ice! What opulence the first-class passengers enjoy, chilled drinks!
Pardon?
Could it be that this steamship is equipped with an electrically refrigerated cold room, do you think?
Wow, it is a luxury liner after all. They have enormous refrigerators for storing all sorts of lavish produce, as well as ice. Not rice, ice. On our voyage from Japan, we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world.
Suddenly, Mikotaba, the sight of you is making my mouth water.
That's kind of sus. It's kind of sus.
I haven't taken on the flavor of the food I just ate, you know?
Hannibal Lecter looking ass. Sholmes.
Like, oh, if you tasted good food, perhaps you would also taste good.
Those are the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for stowing away in wardrobes and/or travel cases.
I feel the rules have increased since I last read them. Probably just my imagination.
What about the fact that they're not straight on the wall? Doesn't that strike you?
You may be right. Probably just your imagination, though. A trifle. And so you know what I always say, Mikotaba? There's nothing important about trifles.
It's probably just my imagination, but I think that might be slightly off.
The books aren't moved, so it's not like it was an emergency break or anything.
Plenty of reading material to keep passengers occupied on long sea voyages. And I found the mixture of classic literature and easy reading to be most satisfactory, I must say.
Whoever stocked this bookcase was a hopeless heretic. There's no copy of the Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes, my dear fellows.
I'm afraid it's just me. But no, you're quite right. More blasphemous than overlooking the Bible.
I shall leave a copy behind. I just happen to have one with me.
You're a true missionary of the Church of Great Detectives, aren't you?
I love it. Susato's dad is very cheeky. Hey, yo, Seishiro, you hiding in there?
It's a very sizable trunk indeed.
Seishiro is partial to all things large.
And a rather clumsy fellow if he failed to notice he'd left that behind.
Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you might think, but still a hindrance to speedy escape.
Pity. It's locked, so we can't look inside.
Surely 5 seconds from now, the station will be quite different, though.
Sadly not. It has a 7-digit combination lock. And I'm not in a morose enough mood to work through all the combinations at present.
Alright, so we can't open it. We checked the trash can. We haven't checked the trash can yet.
This is the waste paper basket, look. And there's still rubbish inside.
Indeed. Then let us pry. And I've discovered recently that I have a penchant for exploring the contents of others' waste paper baskets.
And I sincerely hope only for your work.
Here we have a notice issued to passengers from 3 days ago.
3 days ago? The night before we arrived in London then. When I was still aboard myself.
Evacuation drill notice. Hey, I wasn't done with that!
Yes, there was an evacuation drill, I remember now. For our safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under the watchful eye of the crew. So it was a welcome relief to have some privacy for once.
I would like to investigate that. Give me that court record. I guess I could do it after. Check the wardrobe. Are you hiding in here? According to the report I was given, Naruhodo was concealing himself in Asogi's wardrobe.
Indeed he was, and it was of a similar size to this one. Nah, you must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow.
What? Whatever for?
It was the site of my first fateful meeting with Mr. Naruhodo. You can experience the moment for yourself now, complete with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, in you go. This will only take a moment.
Really, Sholmes? Surely you can just tell me what you said.
Well, I uttered some brilliant remark and opened the wardrobe to reveal the stowaway murderer.
I think I'll just read about it in the Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. Clothes.
There's a substantial heap of clothes on the floor. An overcoat, shirts, a dressing gown.
Momohiki wore trousers, a tanzan robe, a haramaki waistband. Clearly the clothing of a Japanese man.
And clearly, Japanese men are unaccustomed to the culture of the wardrobe.
It looks to me as if they've been thrown in a heap like that in something of a hurry.
Indeed, you could help yourself to a Japanese man's shirt, perhaps. And I'm sure you made mention of packing too few.
And I'd very likely drown in one of Seishiro's shirts. No, I'll just buy extras I need, I think. Oh. The wall is a slightly different color here, do you see?
Indeed! Once you have observed the rises when a frame that has been hanging from some time is removed. Perhaps your friend is an art thief.
Now there's a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure.
He may very well be the elusive thief who has been plaguing France's galleries of late.
I think perhaps we should focus our attentions elsewhere, Sholmes, don't you? That outline on the wall. I feel as though I might have spotted something of that similar shape and size elsewhere. Like right over here. Oh, hello.
You are still here.
Ah, Abel Seaman Stroganoff, hello again.
I was beginning to think you'd never materialize.
Nah, you are waiting for me?
Of course, I was expecting you to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity far sooner.
I was in trouble with Captain because of trick you played before. Poor innocent chicken. Is this guy's name Chicken? Chicken.
That is all your fault.
Ship is leaving port soon. Get off now.
Of course, we shall disembark presently, my dear fellow. But first, there is something that must be done.
What are you talking about?
Why, naturally, the debunking of your deceit and the barring of the truth.
Gagoy.
I'm afraid I see through your lies. For one thing, Mr. Jigoku has not yet left this vessel at all.
He's in the trunk, right? Is Jigoku also dead in the trunk?
And for another, my dear Seaman Stroganoff, you know exactly where the man is, even as we speak, don't you?
We actually see Sholmes big brain something. Now, how can you? Good gracious, Sholmes. You mean you've worked it out? All of it?
It's really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years, no less. So, would you care to join me for a dance of my inimitable logic and reasoning?
Nothing would please me more, except maybe actually learn to be a father to my daughter.
What is this?
No, there is light. I am seaman, I am not light.
We have but minutes until the vessel puts to sea. No games now. Time is of the essence. Mr. Stroganov, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. You told us that Jigoku has left the ship some 2 hours ago.
Nah, that is what I said.
Sadly, that was a rather clumsy lie. You see, there is something in this room that quite clearly contradicts it.
What? Nah, yes, of course.
I see you've noted it too, Mikotama. Then please do take the lead. What in this cabin shows the impossibility of Jigoku having disembarked 2 hours ago?
See, Steven doesn't like Sholmes. American Steven, not UK Steven. I will admit, Sholmes often does have a punchable face. That's a real pretty face, man. Maybe that's why. Plus, he has Kermit voice. You can't hate Kermit, right? He's a lovable goof who also has his head up his own butt, but he's cute though. Anyways,
Let's see what the last 3 years have done to your observational skills then, Mikotama.
it's been 10 years since we last did this, Sholmes, not 3.
Why, of course it has, quite.
He's actually just dumb. He's cute though, but he's dumb. That's okay. That's okay. You can't all be perfect, right?
Now all the clues are here in this cabin for your eyes to see. But as I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe and the answers become clear. So, impress me.
I think I can manage that. It's the ice.
Take that!
Perhaps you should have cleared away that glass. How curious.
I'm curious that the ice shouldn't have melted despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago.
Nah.
It would appear that the man was here in this very cabin until moments before our arrival. With this well-chilled glass in hand.
Get your mind off the refreshments, Sholmes.
One might even conclude that somebody informed him of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganov?
Yeah. But why would Seishiro run from us? That's a good question.
Before we consider that question, allow me to confirm one small matter. Would I be correct in saying that these first-class cabins of the SS Grouse are the same ones in which you and Mr. Jigoku were accommodated on your voyage from Japan?
Nah, that's right. They are. I was in the cabin next door, and Seishiro was. Yes. 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage.
And as I suspected, for you see, there are traces in this cabin of a dark secret that Mr. Jigoku had to hide.
Oh. Gregson was killed in here, wasn't he? And there's blood on the wall. Ooh, so did Kazuma actually kill Gregson and Jigoku is covering up for him? To protect his friend? You know, because, you know, as in Genshin Impact. You know, protect his son as the only thing he can do to help. You know, because obviously he can't help him now, he's dead. Ooh. Would Kazuma do it? I mean, if Kazuma thinks that Gregson forged or found or scammed some sort of evidence into Clint's body to frame his father, but I don't think Kazuma would kill somebody. That's the thing. I still don't think that Gregson is. I know they're convinced, but I think it's all just a setup, but I don't know. I mean, maybe Gregson did have a hand in it, but I don't understand why he would. I don't know. Maybe I don't know, man. I'm just ready. I want to pull the wool over all of our eyes and reveal Strongheart being big evil man. But man, if it was Gregson, I don't know. What traces?
I know nothing about this. Ah, so this is news to you, is it, Mr. Stroganov?
Sholmes, what exactly are you getting at?
As I said, there are traces in this cabin of some nefarious activity. Something that appears out of place, which I'm quite sure won't have escaped your notice. Something out of place in here.
Something out of place in here?
And that's the key to this, Mikotama. The remnants of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by something quite incongruous. I must say, I didn't foresee ever doing this dance of deduction with you again, Mikotama.
No, quite. But life is full of unexpected twists and turns, as we well know. Now then, let's see if I can't uncover the truth here.
Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow.
Take that!
Stop tap dancing. I can't tell if I hate her or if I'm finding oddly charming.
As the rules of passage in this frame here, they're obviously out of place. And the way they're hanging crooked on the wall, as if they were put there in a hurry.
Yes, as I'm sure you've already concluded. That frame was originally over here. The shape and size are a perfect match.
Nah, you're alright. When did frame move?
Hardly the most observant of crewmen, are you, Mr. Stroganov? I would think your captain is quite justified in having his reservations about your reliability.
Wow. Oh dear, that really seemed to touch a nerve.
So, Mikotama, why don't you lift that frame off the wall?
That looks like a bullet hole.
What? Who has been shooting walls? Why is there no blood?
I see the projectile has been removed. Clearly the careful occupant of the room has already disposed of it.
I guess they could have cleaned it.
Now then, Mr. Stroganov.
Nah.
I have the distinct impression that you're attempting to shield said occupant.
And I don't know what you're talking about. Why would I try to protect Eastern Stranger?
Ah, so we're talking about the same man, I see. Good. Nah. I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this in no time, aren't you? Because there's some very noteworthy evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man. Yes, you've been told to keep up this pretense as clearly shown by...
I really don't know how to approach this one, Sholmes.
Nah, my dear Mikotama, simply keep first principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle. And I'm quite sure that you'll see it. In fact, I'd put a wager on it.
So I'm to glare at the fellow from all sides? Well, I certainly can do that.
Chunky arms.
Take that!
It's almost too obvious for words.
Quite the universal language of the world. Money.
Nah. I wager that the Eastern fellow in question is Seishiro Jigoku, yes?
Nah.
So, I presume you realize what this means. There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin. And the way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice.
But...
I believe you know, Mr. Stroganov. You know where Mr. Jigoku is hiding at this precise moment in time. As always, Mikotama, in matters of deduction, the furtive glance is your unfaltering ally.
Yes, I think you're onto something there, Sholmes. You found the chink in this burly fellow's armor.
We need only follow the man's gaze to know where our prey is hiding.
He's in the suitcase.
The slightest flicker of the pupils, a minutely delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that which is barely perceptible.
You can hardly call this barely perceptible, Sholmes. The man turned his entire head. It's not exactly what you describe as a furtive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious.
We shall let your tapping toes decide, my dear fellow.
It's obviously the bookshelf, right? No.
Take that!
Alright, I'm into the toe tap. I'm into it. Before we drop some facts and knowledge. There we go. I like it. I'm into the toe taps. I thought it was weird. I think it's just because I don't like Susato's dad. But he's okay. He's okay. Horrible father. Okay person. Kind of weird.
You turned immediately to look at this large trunk, didn't you?
Nah.
The truth is, Seishiro Jigoku was unable to escape from the ship in time. And is, at this very moment, doing his best to stifle his breath inside this trunk.
And if he still has a breath to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low on air. I imagine he didn't count on us making a nuisance of ourselves for quite so long. I think it would be in everyone's best interests for us to open the trunk as quickly as possible.
But how can we? Are we forgetting about the combination lock? You don't know the 7-digit code.
Oh, it's on his arm. S-H-O-L-M-E-S. That's 7.
The combination lock can't be opened from inside the trunk. And therefore, there must have been an arrangement for somebody to open it after our departure.
Of course.
In short, before Jigoku hid himself in that trunk, he must have told somebody the 7-digit number for the lock. As I'm sure you can confirm, Mr. Stroganoff.
No! I know nothing about combination code. So it's what, 5231045. It just looks like Sholmes upside down.
Don't move a muscle.
Ah!
Now, Mikotama, would you do the honors and open the trunk?
How on earth do you expect me?
It's a 7-digit number, remember? Quickly now, we have little time.
Five, 5231045. 5231045. 5 2 3 1 4 5.
Take that!
That did it. It's open. You had to meddle, didn't you?
He's just hiding in the trunk.
Well, Eugene, you found me now. Say Shiro.
I was like, there's no way he's in there. And then I'm like, well, even though he looks pretty big, to be fair, most of these characters are probably pretty short. Which I feel like is a bit rude to say, but I mean, if he can squeeze into that trunk, he doesn't have the longest legs, but he is the tallest of the bunch. So at first I was like, nah, he's not in the trunk. And I'm like, maybe he is in the trunk. Oh, he's in the trunk.
I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know? But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it? No, quite. I just wished there were some other way.
Well, are you ever going to introduce me?
Ah, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Sholmes. I've read stories of your many exploits. Excuse my manners, Sholmes. This is Mr. Jigoku, my old friend and traveling companion.
The devil is in the details, Mikotama. I believe you meant to say your old friend and traveling companion who made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour.
I see, my reputation precedes me well. What an honor. Well, Seishiro, are you going to explain all this?
Shouldn't y'all get off the boat? Alright, aren't y'all going to Naples if you don't get off the boat in like the next 2 seconds?
You know it all by now, I imagine. What you did know, of course, is that 3 days ago, on the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on this very ship. By the Reaper of the Bailey. Yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you. I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when we arrived in London to find the symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might be very well targeted again.
So you decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me about it.
I'm afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now.
Because we're having a lot of Jigoku speech, I need to get my little thing set up a little bit better so I don't have to hold it.
I really ought to have confided in you.
It's somewhat surprising, I must say.
What is?
Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. And it's more than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available.
So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. The cabin did just happen to be available, so I purchased the tickets and here I am.
And I've just seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in this cabin. So you'd already purchased your return ticket before we'd even docked in Dover, had you? To prevent anyone else from taking the cabin and seeing the evidence. Is that it? Eugene!
I have nothing to say to you.
Well, in a mere 5 minutes, the ship will set off on its onward voyage and not to make port again until Italy. And I'm afraid we must insist that you disembark with us at once.
You have no jurisdiction over my movements.
We have this, Seishiro. Take it.
What is it?
It's a subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this in the British courts would be.
You came prepared then, Eugene.
Come on, let's go.
One moment.
What is it, Sholmes?
Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk, I found this rather fascinating trinket.
What is that, Seishiro?
I can't help you, I'm afraid. Some small component from something.
But what?
I have no idea.
By the look on his face, I think he genuinely doesn't know.
Well, let us pocket it as a small souvenir of our brief sojourn in France.
Well, young Naruhodo, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant. All right, 12:10 p.m. There's grumblings about Kazuma Asogi. I know you, and I know you wouldn't lie, but still, there's no doubt that you're holding something back. You know more than you're saying. During the past 30 minutes while this court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended. But sadly, Mr. Jigoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained.
We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already done the deed. There's no sense in wasting any more of the court's time. The prosecution calls for immediate verdict.
Objection!
No, the trial cannot end now.
You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword.
And you should know to never presume when the battle is won.
The court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all the relevant testimony. There can only be one conclusion, that the accused is guilty.
No relevant testimony? Far from it. There's still a crucial witness, from whom the court is yet to hear a single word of testimony. In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel. Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible.
The witness is already on his way and scheduled to arrive tomorrow.
Who on earth is this crucial witness?
Seishiro Jigoku, the very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper.
Judge Jigoku, you found him?
But the investigations of every policing resource in the capital suggest Jigoku is already dead.
How in the name of God did you find the man?
He was located in France during the recess at the port of Dunkirk, thanks to one of Mr. Herlock Sholmes' famous deductions.
Herlock Sholmes?
Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jigoku on the night of his death, because along with Prosecutor Sogi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate the man. Which means that Seishiro Jigoku is the sole witness who can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Grouse on the 31st of October.
Well, it would appear that it's too soon to move to adjudication at this point. The prosecution concurs. The court must hear Mr. Jigoku's testimony. No judgment should be passed until all testimony has been considered.
In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow. No objections from either side?
No, my lord. No objections, my lord.
We live to fight another day, by the skin of our teeth. And I'm still not sure. I'm still not sure what to believe, to be honest. It just, to me, it doesn't make sense that Gregson would be doing something like this, but it's obvious that Kazuma claims he was sent to assassinate Jigoku but had no intentions of doing so. It's obvious that Gregson was there, and I don't know though. I don't want to believe it. Being bamboozled by Gregson this whole time. He seemed like a really genuine guy, but if he's getting orders from somebody to do it, and he's dealing with Asashin, and now Kazuma was recruited as an assassin, it's just... But Kazuma, as we know, was taken in by Lord Strongheart, and I just... I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like that part. But... I don't know. I don't know. It does say investigation part 1 here. So is this truly the end? Or are we gonna get into an investigation? Because that was an investigation. I'm wondering if we should poke a little further. Because it says investigation part 1, SS Growl's cabin. We already saved over it. Alright, no. Okay, so that was saved. We'll see if this is a court. Alright, so this is not, alright. If not, I was just gonna go back to the save screen and then wrap it up, because I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't, I don't know, because it's been a little weird. I don't know. I just want to keep going, but I also don't want to get sucked into another super long episode. I did take a little break, so from when we started off poking around in the cabin, it's been about 40 minutes. But other than that, I don't recall how long the first part was, but I've been here for a little bit. But I committed to finishing off trial part 1 and investigation part 1 here, so I think we have a little bit more to go. So let's talk a bit. The unexpected halt of proceedings sent a clamor around the courtroom. But outside the Paley, where Londoners knew nothing of the secret trial within, it was a typical still night. Then, at a little past 8 o'clock that evening, Mr. Sholmes and his partner returned to Baker Street. Okay, so Sholmes is back. Ooh, Iris made some good food. Alright, so 8:07. Feel like we got some talking to do. And hopefully it'll bring us a little more clarity.
We have returned, my dear fellows!
Welcome back to Britain, and thank you for your timely help.
Think nothing of it! And I believe you've had an even more wearing day than Mikotoba and I know.
You could say that. We were on the brink of defeat in court earlier.
So this prosecutor Asogi had you on the ropes, did he? And he's your best friend, you say?
Well, he's not really the man I knew in Japan anymore. Cosmo's changed. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo! I mean, it's incredible. To think that he'd even entertain the idea of acting as the Reaper's assassin.
Well, nevertheless, you must introduce me. After all, I've only ever met the young man as a corpse.
When all this started almost a year ago now. Mr. Sholmes still hasn't told us the truth about what really happened back then. And about the motivation for what he himself described as a great detective's lie.
Now that I must say, it's really quite a journey all the way to France.
Well, it is another country, Mr. Sholmes. So, what news of Judge Jikoku? We took him to Scotland Yard. The investigating detectives there have a lot of questions for the man. Poor Professor Mikotoba. This must be quite a shock for him.
Ah, yes. And I picked this up at the telegraph office on our way home.
What is it?
Surely you haven't forgotten already. And I put upon you for the matter only yesterday.
You put upon me, Sholmes. And I had to fill out your telegram to Japan and foot the bill as well.
No! You've had a reply already?
What was so urgent, though, Mr. Sholmes?
Such matters can wait until later, and I'm far too hungry for an involved conversation at present.
Well, that's good news, because supper is ready, everyone.
Nah, and what a feast it is! If I were none the wiser, I'd think the trial we already won already. Roast beef, kippers, stew, steak and kidney pie, Yorkshire pudding.
Tomorrow could be a very long day, so eat up.
In that case, I think I'll seat myself just here. This place appears to be the only set, with a helping of pheasant as well.
Oh, sorry, Hurley, not there.
Why ever not? Are we in set places this evening?
Yes, and that place is for Susie's daddy. For me? That's right, I made it especially for you, Professor Mickey. I see. Well, that's terribly kind of you. Are you my daddy? It's a shame, really.
What do you mean?
Well, for a brief moment, I believed it. That Susie and I were half-sisters, I mean. Oh!
Yeah, Iris isn't stupid. You know Iris has been listening in on that conversation.
Iris, do you mean?
That's why she's acting weird this morning.
Yes, I know now. I overheard yesterday. Y'all forget I got a doctorate in medicine at the age of 10. Y'all think I can't listen? I secretly listened in to the conversation you had after I tricked you all into thinking I'd left.
What?
Sholmes with the falling emotes. The misunderstanding arose because of that autopsy report from 10 years ago. But actually, it turned out that neither Dr. Wilson nor Professor Mikotoba are Iris' father.
Yes, about that, Iris. You know, I
know. You can't tell me at the moment.
Van Zeeks is Iris' father.
Oh, Iris! The pheasant is by way of an apology. I'm sorry for eavesdropping. No, that's quite all right.
Then why don't I get any apologetic pheasant?
It's not about you, Sholmes. It's about Iris. So just who is Iris' father? I think I memed about it, but I think Iris' dad is Lord Strongheart. That'd be horrible. Oh, Iris, I apologize. I feel like I'm just picking on Iris, but I don't know, man. Their eyes are the same color. And no one else in this game has pink hair. Maybe Lord Strongheart had pink hair when he was younger. Lord Strongheart's like, what, mid-50s? Can you start going gray in your mid-50s? Are you Iris's dad? Are you Iris's dad? Are you Iris's dad, Gina? What? Wait, is Gregson Iris's dad? Gregson could be Iris's dad. I don't know. I suppose that's not something we'll be finding out today.
So then, let us dine while our largely pheasantless plates are still piping hot.
A fine idea, Sholmes. It all looks absolutely delicious. Eat as much as you'd like. There's always seconds. Except the pheasant. That's not for you, Sholmes. That's not for you, Hurley. This could be our last chance to ask questions before tomorrow's trial. And about that telegram from Japan. And about Cosma. And I can't let this opportunity slip away. Why are you all curled up on the couch like that, dude? Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
Being depressed. Surely it's abundantly clear that I wasn't brooding over Mikotoba's refusal to share his pheasant with me. Nevertheless, I felt the need to withdraw from the social circle for a while and look on with hungry eyes.
The ultimate man-child. Sorry, Hurley, but I cooked that pheasant especially for Susie's daddy.
Even though I've played the role of father to you for far longer.
Mr. Sholmes. Sholmes is like,
I raised that child.
Can I discuss some things with you?
I don't even get any pheasant for it. Certainly, my dear fellow. I find myself quite in the mood for a spell of conversation. No doubt, you're hungry to learn more of my deep love for game.
I can probably contain my curiosity on that one. See, I attempted to be a vegetarian for like about 2 years. And that's when I kind of gained it, kinda. I mean, I'd already been a little chunky. That's when I gained a lot of weight because I was like, you know what's vegetarian and close to work? Taco Bell. Quesadillas and the bean burritos are officially, at least on their website, listed as vegetarian. I'm sure there's a little crossover, but so I was eating Taco Bell for a while, and that's how I get up to like $1.99. I was like, all right, I'm not doing that anymore. But I feel guilty eating meat. So like, I eat chicken. I try not to think about it, but like, I don't eat like a lot of other meat, to be honest. Like, I'll eat, holidays, and the ham is good. I like ham, but I like filet mignon too. I like T-bone steak and pork chops and stuff, but I just don't like eating it. So very, very rarely I eat it. So like, for those of you who've had it, does pheasant taste good? Does it feel like it'd be like a cousin of chicken and turkey, right? I loved turkey when I was little, but now that I'm older, like even before I started feeling weird about eating meat, I started not liking the way turkey tastes. So I just like chicken. But like I've never had, and something I will never eat. Because I remember actually I was at, what was it? Up in, I know there's some people in the Titan Cards channel that have talked about it before during the streams, but from Montreal. I don't know if there's anybody here, but it's not. My mom's like super behind, so I can't even ask her. One of you guys probably answer me faster than she would. But, Morlatos, that's what it's called. My yeah goes to the Morlatos. And one time when we were up there, we went, and they had just a whole rabbit. Just in the little meat case. And it was not just like rabbit meat, like a whole skinned rabbit. And I was like, no. I won't ever eat rabbit. I couldn't. I think it was either this past weekend or like a different stream this week, but sometime during last week, whether it's Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday, y'all in chat were talking about venison. And I'm like, leave the little baby deer alone. What are you doing? And I didn't say anything, but I was like, oh my God. But I don't know. Not that like pheasant is a weird meat, but but it's like something it's never even been on my radar. Like I've heard people eat it before, but I'm just like, man, Sholmes is obsessed with these pheasants. Like I've heard people eat quail. Niv eats quail eggs. She was really into him for a little bit, then she's kind of like, eh. You know, maybe go back to like Niv actually likes the cooked egg, like scrambled egg. Or one time I gave Niv, I scrambled some eggs and some like little ham bits, and she liked it. But that's the thing, it's good. Niv can eat a lot of food. Still gotta give her a balanced diet, but Niv can eat a lot. But yeah, so I've heard of like quail eggs, but pheasants? I think I've only like read about that. I don't think I've ever met somebody who's had pheasant. Long story short, if you guys had pheasant, let me know. Is it good?
You needn't look at me in that fashion while I take a sip of Diet Dr. Pepper from a bottle.
In what fashion?
It seems that before we discuss the pheasants, we have some rather unpheasant matters to discuss.
How can you not like Sholmes, Stephen? Come on. He's a meme lord. Wait. Hold on. I want to examine. I don't know if I already missed it, but I want to get that achievement on Iris's blackboard. Alright, so it's already done. I must have missed it already then. There's the step ladders and ladders. There's the shovels and spades. And there's the blackboard one. I was hoping I'd be able to get those, but I think I missed them. So, what's with the telegram that you received back from Japan then?
I think my lucky stars had arrived in time. Record found as indicated duplicate as follows. Kayasugi, A. Sheen, T. Gregson, J. Wilson.
Oh, was Gregson one of the names on the... Oh, crap. Was Gregson one of the names on the Morse code from last time? What? Those 4 names? We've come across that exact same list before. Yo, I completely forgot Gregson was on that list. Alright, so I guess this shouldn't have come out of 110% left field. It should have been a little more on the straight and narrow. They came up in that unforgettable case last spring. I remember Cosma, Sheen, and Wilson being on there, but I don't remember Gregson. Huh. What appeared to be a simple case of aggravated murder turned out to be masking monumental intrigue. A plot that involved the sale of British governmental secrets to foreign states. In exposing the means by which those secrets were being leaked, we deciphered a fragment of the message. Kayasugi, Eishin, Gregson, Wilson. But we didn't find the names out until the case was over, and we never did get to the bottom of what they meant. All we knew was that the information had been sent by somebody in the British government to somebody in Japan. So, why are the names coming up again now? Yes! Where did the sender of your telegram discover them, Mr. Sholmes?
I have here the message I wired yesterday. Allow me to read it to you. Enter Judge Jigoku's office undetected and investigate the telegram records. Expect to find communication from Britain dated 1 year ago. List the 4 names. Need by tomorrow. Naruhodo.
I sent it to a detective I know specializes in clandestine missions of this nature.
You asked Inspector Hosonaga to undertake such an onerous task for you?
Oh, I love they're using the picture with him with the turtle. I mean, that is our most recent image we have of him, but Inspector Hosanaga's great, dude. And in my name? I wonder what guides he opted for this time.
My dear fellows, it was a matter of great urgency, you understand?
Anyway, the list of names was found in Seishiro's office, as Sholmes predicted. So you mean that mysterious collection of names that was sent from Britain to Japan was sent to Judge Jigoku? He was the intended recipient! I don't believe it.
But that doesn't answer the question of what the list of names actually signifies. I did formulate a hypothesis about that. My hypothesis!
Yeah, Professor Hairbrain was a great character, too.
But without a shred of evidence, I couldn't have possibly shared it.
Mr. Sholmes looks deadly serious for once. Alright, we got that telegram. So is, Judge Jigoku a mole? Is Judge Jigoku actually the professor? least we don't actually have to tell Iris her father's dead. I mean, it might be Clint Van Zieks, I don't know. That tragedy we had to go through on the SS Buria. It was all for nothing. Cosmo wasn't dead at all. You traumatized me for no reason. We were completely taken in by the lie you told us. Your great detectives lie.
I took no pleasure in deceiving you. However, at the time, all that concerned me was preventing the young man's study tour from taking place, whatever the cost.
What?
And I capitalized on the events that transpired to see that he was sent back to Japan.
His remains, you mean?
Precisely, Miss Susato.
Oh, this is interesting.
And then, they made sure that somebody else was sent to Britain in his stead.
Oh my, you mean?
The arrangement between our two countries was already in place. One university student lawyer and one judicial assistant to be accommodated on a study tour. In other words, by arranging for someone else to fill the place originally intended for Mr. Asogi, I would successfully prevent the man from arriving on our shores for several years at least.
Wait, do you mean to say that it was all in aid of stopping Cosma coming to Britain? That's why you...
Think back, Mr. Naruhodo! Was there not somebody who quite casually urged you to continue on the voyage to England?
The terms of this study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. In the light of Mr. Asogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead.
The only thing I remember about Hosanaga's voice is I made it very wavy. But I mean, he wasn't very distinctive. I also did not expect to encounter him multiple times. I like it though. I just find it humorous. The one that was like, alright guys, I think she's a main character. She's on the cover of the box. Ray Mimbami just disappears off the face of the earth.
My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. And all you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely.
But there's no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer.
And the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. An ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer.
So, you manipulated me?
I've often remarked on the extraordinary lengths to which friendship will drive a man. And I was quite sure that you would rise to the challenge for your late friend.
I don't believe it. So Sholmes is actually out here playing 5D chess. My goals are beyond your comprehension. This is that meme from The Flash, right? You know, I haven't put a meme on screen in a while. Flash meme. Yeah, this one. This one is the reverse flash. Where is it? What pops up if I reveal Aliana? Oh, it's a pinch in the cheeks! Susato, I'm pinching your cheeks again. Face cheeks, of course. Cheeks of the face variety. But this one. My goals are beyond your comprehension. This is Sholmes right now. That was so large. But it was all contrived! I mean, what had happened was treated by the authorities as a murder. A woman was mistakenly arrested as the perpetrator. What do you suppose became of her?
Naturally, I didn't allow the misapprehension to have any serious repercussions. I subsequently explained everything and assisted the unfortunate soul in finding the foreign refuge she sought.
I seem to remember Miss Susato and I had some rather strong words for her.
Well, she was certainly not devoid of all guilt. She deserved every word, I'm sure.
And I wonder if she made it to America then. I mean, she did just push him against this giant thing. It was lucky that he didn't die, to be honest. Because I remember even me, I was like physically cringing at when they had that flashback and Cosmo fell and they zoomed in on the bedpost. And I was like, yeah, that seems like a yikes to me. So she kind of she deserved to get yelled at. It was a very sucky situation, so I'm glad Kazuma didn't die. But just based on what's going on here, I'm like, should he have, though? I don't know. Why is he being this way? I guess, to be fair, we've seen more of Kazuma now than at the start of the game. Kazuma still in his uniform with the headband, being majestic, and it's like, this is the real Kazuma. Kazuma before was just what he wanted us to see, but this is him. But I still think that, I don't know what he's up to. I don't know why he's doing what he's doing. But just like Van Zieks, he's taking out his personal emotional pain in the form of racism. Kazuma's taking it out and pretending to be an assassin. So these are like y'all need to talk to a therapist. Please, we got friends. I mean, to be fair, Van Zieks doesn't have friends, but Kazuma, confide in us. We're here for you. You don't know Susato that well, but she's been trying to help you ever since she found out that your father died. She's been wanting to be by your side, help you grow. She probably actually thinks you're cute, because you are kind of cute. Too many people in this game are cute. Anyways, Susato's 16. Anyways, underage. Don't look at Susato, you guys.
Well, technically, she's 137 because this took place in 1900.
Anyways, but like, and you have Ryunosuke here, you know, who you met in university and became really good friends. It's like, you got people that are here for you. But the thing is that he does trust us. That's why he wants us to be the defense attorney, because he is counting on us to keep him in line. Even though he's coming out with anger, we can see it, as that's why he wants us. He wants to get to the bottom of it. I think he's completely convinced that he's right, but there's something in his mind that says if he isn't, he needs someone he can rely on the other side. Because there's always going to be another side to things. It's just to find out where the truth is, whether it's completely in the middle, whether it's closer to one side than the other. So I appreciate that he's trusting us. Thankfully, Van Zieks is now trusting us too. But I care about these characters' mental states. They're making bad decisions and I don't like it. But anyway, Susato is quiet.
I'm afraid I simply cannot comprehend it.
Why would you go to such lengths, Mr. Sholmes? That's a good question.
Why are you so determined to stop Kazuma?
Actually, I need to look at that. this is stupid. I want to change. Okay, so the flash picture has this giant, because it's so large. It's so large. Let me put the little tiny hand back. Boop, boop, boop. It keeps peeking out around the corner, and then I click off to the side to click around it, but it was so big it wouldn't go away, so I clicked off screen. I don't know what Susato actually said. Alright. What'd Susato say? God, stop! Alright, I just gotta press the button T. Alright.
Why are you so determined to stop Kazuma-sama from reaching Britain?
And the truth is, since 12 months ago, there was already a very tangible omen of the impending tragedy, you see.
Oh!
An omen that, at this very moment in time, is close at hand.
An omen of all these tragic events that already existed a year ago? Is close at hand? We need to find out exactly what Mr. Sholmes knows. No, so we have to present something, huh? There was no room for doubts with your instructions in this telegram, Mr. Sholmes. You were very clear that it was Judge Jigoku's office that should be searched. So, you obviously knew that's where the list of names would be found.
Kayasogi, Eishin, T. Gregson, J. Wilson.
But we only learnt of those 4 names just over 6 months ago now. And only because they appeared as part of the top-secret government communications that were leaked.
That's true, yes. But at the time, you were unaware of the background. You see, those 4 names were wired to Japan. Around 6 months before that, approximately this time last year, in fact, when you were both still in Japan. It would really be hypocrisy on my part to reprove others for intercepting state secrets. Because after all, I'm perpetually eavesdropping on communications between the British and Japanese governments.
Of course you are. You're perpetually doing what? How? Why? When? Where?
Never mind the details, but you should know. No secret is safe from Herlock Sholmes when he has designs on knowing it.
Oh my, Mr. Sholmes! What a fabulous line!
Now, 1 month after that list of 4 names was wired to the recipient Jigoku in Japan, Dr. John H. Wilson was murdered. And as soon as I learnt of the incident, a hypothesis rapidly took shape in my mind. And as it turned out, I was partly correct and partly mistaken. Nevertheless, it was the beginning of all the tragic events that were to follow.
Mr. Sholmes, please! Tell us all you know! So, Cosma did kill Gregson because Asashin killed Dr. Wilson. Tell us about these 4 names and the tragedy to which they're all connected! There's 5D chess out here. Why are you stealing? Alright, I gotta switch again. Oh, that's annoying. Sorry about that. Anyways. Hey, Sholmes! Hey, Sholmes, why are you intercepting state secrets? My goals are beyond your understanding, Naruhodo! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
As I said, when I learnt of Dr. Wilson's murder in Japan, my mind immediately turned to those 4 names because, you see, there was someone else on the list who I believed to be recently deceased.
What? Who?
Eishin, as it was transcribed in Japanese script. In actual fact, Ms. Asashin. That was a familiar name to me. She was a professional killer, known well among London's unsavory classes.
Oh, I see.
But she had completely vanished from existence several months before Wilson's murder. So I came to the logical conclusion that she had herself been killed. And then accordingly, I became fearful for the lives of the 2 remaining persons on the list.
Ah! Keisogi and T. Gregson!
Knowing to our proximity, I decided to take measures to protect Gregson myself. But I determined it would be safest if young Asogi were to stay away from Britain.
Ah, so that's why you went to such lengths to prevent his study tour from going ahead.
Exactly.
So, you already knew who Kazuma-sama was, Mr. Sholmes? Oh yes, Sholmes and I have exchanged correspondence for years. And I'd recounted many tales about Asogi to him in my letters, and the news of Dr. Wilson's death, of course. So, Dr. Wilson is dead then? I didn't know. Oh, Iris. I know he wasn't my daddy, but still. That's very sad. I'm so sorry, Iris. We knew the significance of the name, obviously, but we just couldn't bring ourselves to tell you. No. But what you just told us, Mr. Sholmes, doesn't completely tie in with the facts. There's one big hole in your hypothesis. A big hole, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. You mean about Asashin, I presume? Oh, of course. Exactly. She wasn't killed, was she? She was in Japan, posing as a visiting student under the assumed name of Giselle Bratt.
And I'm glad you're keeping up, my dear fellow. But I only became aware of that fact 2 days ago, in the foyer of the Great Waterloo Hotel.
Ah!
And upon hearing that startling revelation, the hypothesis I'd formed surrounding those 4 names was completely turned topsy.
What? Topsy? What do you mean when you say your hypothesis was turned topsy, Mr. Sholmes?
I had believed all 4 names on the list to be names of victims. However, I was mistaken.
Very much so. Asashin was a killer. So this telegram is a list of both victims and killers, is it?
Indeed. And it would seem that Miss Shin was dispatched from Britain with the sole intention of dispatching Dr. Wilson. Her visiting student status being merely a front.
Ah.
Which would, of course, explain why no motive could be determined for her actions.
So the real reason Dr. Wilson was killed by Assassin is because he was the target of an assassination.
And forearmed with that knowledge, fresh consideration of this telegram puts the list in a very different perspective.
What do you mean?
Well, does it not strike you? There is another amongst the four who subsequently became a visiting student.
Wait, you mean...
But of course, a name you know only too well.
You mean... Cosma? Oh! He did say in court earlier today. Yes, on 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark.
Young Mr. Asogi accepted that mission a year ago now.
Surely not!
In conclusion, this document is a contract of sorts. An international agreement, one might say, detailing an assassin exchange.
An assassin exchange? How could Cosmo possibly have gotten involved in something like that?
Let's assume that we have two parties, each wishing to dispose of a distinct individual. And those two parties then make a contract to swap their respective assassination targets. And that would be an assassin exchange.
So to begin with, the British assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Japan, where she kills her target. And then, the Japanese assassin is dispatched as a visiting student to Britain in order to eliminate his targets. It certainly does sound like an exchange. But, what on earth is the point? Don't forget, Naruhodo, that the British assassin at least escaped conviction, thanks to diplomatic immunity afforded by consular jurisdiction. Oh, yes. Such jurisdiction should be null and void under the terms of the new treaty between our two countries. So the fact that it was brought into play suggests intervention at the very highest levels. The highest levels?
These murders were two sides of the same coin, linked not by a common motive, but by contractual agreement. As such, they appeared utterly unrelated. Yet, in truth, the assassins were complicit in one singular devilish scheme. That dissociation and the safeguard of diplomatic immunity were, I believe, the motivation behind this plot.
But wait a minute, Sholmes. If this telegram is really describing the exchange of assassins you're suggesting, it would mean that the Japanese killer's target was never Seishiro Jigoku at all. It would mean Asogi's target was actually Inspector Gregson. What? Cosmo was here for Gregson? So Judge Jigoku wasn't actually the Mark? Yes, that's exactly what it would mean!
I hold myself personally responsible for failing to keep the inspector safe.
Mr. Sholmes!
I told him of my fears and implored him to seek a transfer to an overseas position. And obviously, with the young pickpocket in tow.
Yes, Gina. Come to think of it, Inspector Gregson did mention that to us at the Great Exhibition. That he'd be transferring to the Paris police and taking Gina with him.
But without informing me, he engaged in one last assignment, it seems. And sadly, it turned out to be his very last.
This is too much to take in. All right, everyone, that's quite enough of all that serious talk for one day. Isn't it, Hurley? I mean, look at the time.
Nah, quite right, Iris. We must conclude our preparations for tomorrow.
What preparations? Well, I think I shall make my way back to my hotel now. This has certainly been a night to remember. It is. A little bit sad, though. I mean, I like the idea of you being my daddy. Because then, Susie would have been my big sister. I'm sorry, Iris.
I know, Iris. I was thinking quite the same thing.
Where are you? But if somebody like me were be worthy, I would be delighted to become your sister. What? Really? Oh yes, without question. So, you'll teach me all the ways you know to throw Runo to the floor? Yes, of course. It would be my pleasure. You didn't have to agree quite so readily. Oh, but wait a minute. If Susie's going to be my big sister, you could be my big brother if you want, Runo. Huh? I mean, yes, of course. If you'll have me, I'll gladly be your brother.
Well done, Iris. We must always be mindful of feelings. And I've raised you so well.
Because being sensitive is your strong suit, naturally. Right, I'm going to work extra hard for tomorrow now, because it's for my big brother and sister. What is all this talk about preparing for tomorrow? Preparing for what? Hee. You'll just have to wait and see. Oh.
Good luck in court tomorrow. I'm expecting a sterling performance.
I'll do my very best, of course. So the overnight break in the trial's proceedings became a crucial turning point, exposing new truths whilst posing new conundrums. That lists the 4 names on the telegram in Judge Jigoku's office, and the extraordinary assassination plots in which my best friend had somehow become involved. And I felt as though I had been plunged into an even greater darkness all of a sudden. But at the same time, I felt sure I would see the light again soon. Because I was lucky enough to have the most wonderful family in the world standing steadfastly behind me. Alright, so... I mean, Sholmes still trusted Gregson. Right? Why are they trying to kill Dr. Wilson? Why are they trying to kill Gregson? I still think they're trying to eliminate anybody related to the professor case. So I don't know. I don't follow. I mean, I guess we'll just have to find out, but I can't believe how much has happened in this episode. It seems like Cosma did assassinate Gregson. Gregson may or may not be affiliated with the Reaper. Lord Strongheart is suspicious AF. Sholmes is actually playing 5D chess. We don't know who Iris's dad is. There's still so many questions. How is there still so many questions left unresolved here, and there's only 2 episodes left of this game? This is insane, you guys. But hey, at least we'll be ending off on an even 40 instead of 41. I was like, man, I hope there's a double episode here somewhere. I don't want to have 41 episodes. That seems weird. So it should be 40 episodes here to finish it all off. This has been a wild ride. I was not expecting a lot of the stuff that happened here. But I mean, I believe in Gina. Gina's faith in Gregson, I don't know. I mean, Van Zeek said he can trace it back to Gregson. The thing is, supposedly the theory that's running is that Gregson would dispatch Assassin. But then he dispatched Assassin and someone dispatched Cosma apparently to kill him in exchange. I don't know. Why is Judge Jigoku doing all this? Why is he up to his shady shenanigans? Is Jigoku the professor? Is Strongheart the professor? Is it some spooky third-party person that we haven't heard of before? Are we gonna get assassinated? Is that how the game ends? I mean, it's not possible because we're Phoenix's ancestors. That's the only thing from keeping me from not going in on that theory. Because I just feel like I don't understand how we can wrap everything up in these next 2 parts. I'm actually blown away. I'm blown away. So this has been a heck of an episode. Let me know your guys' thoughts on everything that we've been through here this afternoon in the comment section down below. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, absolutely insane revelations here. Man, man, this has been something else, so I really hope you guys have been enjoying this playthrough. Can't believe it's almost coming to an end here. The August takeover is like an August, September takeover, but hey, I've been having a blast, so I hope you guys have too. But yeah, like I said, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Comments, theories, questions, anything else that I didn't pick up on that you guys are remembering being, Allie, what about this fact? What about this? What about that? Or if there's something that you guys aren't following, maybe I might remember. It's like we're having a book club. I like it. So let me know what you think's going on down below in the comment section. And of course, if you're not yet part of the Allie's Treasure Trove family, I'd love to have you join us. Make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, before I get on out of here, do have to give an extra big shout out to all of my patrons over on Patreon. Thank you so much, you all, for your above and beyond supports. I really, truly do appreciate it. Do have 5 Ultimate Excavators: Jack Perez, Keith Mura, Mako, Mark Mardini, and Stephen Olivo, 2 Gemstone Miners, and then Stephen Bly, and 1 Crystal Collector, John Michak. But yes, thank you so much again to all of my patrons, whether you're on a tier in which I say your name at the end of every video or not. Really, truly do appreciate your guys' above and beyond support. So thank you, thank you, thank you. But that does it for me here. Woo, this has been a crazy episode. Let me know your thoughts on this episode and the craziness scale. It seems to me like this is a 12 out of 10 crazy. So I hope it's not just me. I completely forgot that Gregson's name was on the list. That's on me. That's on me. I remember Shin, Kazuma, Wilson, vaguely. And I forgot Gregson was on the list. Alright, so that's on me, that's on me. Could have seen this coming. No, why are they... Poor Gregson. Justice for Gregson. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe Gregson was kind of evil. I don't know. But that does it for me here in this one. I hope we'll find out some answers to some of the questions I was posing here at the end in these next few episodes. I don't know if it'll be possible to wrap it all up, but I have faith in I have faith in the game. I think we'll figure it all out. But I hope you join me next time as we unravel more of these mysteries here on Allie's Treasure Trove. Take care, everybody, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye!